All right, we roll on with our ECU opponent previews, talking to the longtime play-by-play voice of the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, Bruce Howard, joining us for the first time via video chat, Bruce. And I love how you announcers keep up with the times and with modern technology. We're talking via video for the first time. How you doing, man?
Hey, it's a pleasure, Clip. Great to join you, and obviously all the great Pirate fans there in Greenville.
And we talked to each other while American Conference Media Day going on for the first time ever in our state. It's a trek down the road, but on the southwestern side of the state in Charlotte. So the coaches are up there speaking. And Bruce, I always like to kind of recap last year, but with all the newness, there might not be much reason to go back and look at that for Tulsa. We can talk about what's coming up in the future. The head coach of the Golden Hurricane is 8 years younger than I am, which is scary. But what about Trey Lamb, the Trey Lamb era? What do you think about that?
Well, I'm not going to tell you how many years younger he is than I am, but yeah, really, really impressive young man, 35 years old. He had 4 years at Gardner Webb as the head coach, 1 year at East Tennessee. So he's really, and he comes from a family in Georgia that is all football. I mean, his father won 3 state championships in Georgia. His grandfather won 3 state championships in Georgia. His uncle coaches for Furman. You know, I mean, so they're a bunch of coaches, no doubt about it. And he knows his football. He had a clipboard in his hand when he was 9 years old. You know, at his dad's high school practices. So well ahead of his time, it appears, and he's done a really nice job. He's got a good, young, hungry coaching staff that he's hired this year.
And Bruce, the trend is when a new coach comes in, he brings a lot of guys with him. So how about the roster turnover? It's huge no matter where you are, no matter what level you're at. But how about for Tulsa? How much newness will be on the field this year compared to last year?
Oh, a lot. You know, there's some familiarity, but you know, like anybody that does what you and I do, it's study time. You know, you've got a lot of homework to do in terms of, you know, players coming in, players leaving, players going in the portal, players even that went through the spring practice and then went in the portal. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got a lot of different things that can occur now in today's day and age, and so it becomes almost like you're a JUCO coach anymore because you don't know what you have. You cobble it together, you do the best you can, and hopefully you bring in some guys that you know that can play. And it's a to me it's a good combination, and you know. Of you know, and I don't know if that's the case with Coach Harrell, but it's a good combination of some kids from maybe Trey's level of coaching, you know, that FCS type player, really good FCS player, and then some transfers from some P5 schools or P4 schools, if you will. So there's a really nice combination of guys that are young and hungry and, you know, played at East Tennessee State or played at, you know, at Furman or whatever. And then, you know, guys that are, you know, that got some pretty good pedigree in terms of, you know, where they've been. So I think that's kind of what you have to do these days. But yeah, it is a great deal of newness. And it's not only the players, but the coaching staff as well. Only 2 coaches were retained. And, you know, a lot of times it's 0, but 2 coaches were retained from last year's staff. So you're right, it's a lot of new.
Bruce Howard joining us today on Pirate Radio Live. Bruce, it's not the end-all, be-all, but, man, you got to have a quarterback. And nowadays when we are, you said, you know, research, study, and preview, and that's the first place we look, even when we're talking about who's going to win the national championship. You know, Cade Klubnik coming back to Clemson, Drew Aller at Penn State, so they have a quarterback in-house. For East Carolina, they have a returner. That's good news, Caden Hauser. How about Tulsa? What's the quarterback situation looking like heading into this year?
Well, it looks like it's going to be Kirk Francis. Kirk is a returning guy who started several games last year. Interestingly enough, he didn't start and did not play much in the East Carolina game. East Carolina defeated Tulsa in a really good game on a Thursday night. And Kirk only threw, I think, 1 pass. Cooper Lega, who was a transfer from Utah State, ended up playing most of that game and played reasonably well in a 38-31 ECU victory. So, you know, so Kirk, you guys didn't see Kirk, but he's a former walk-on, a guy that's a local product, really does a nice job, very accurate, throws well on the run, has command of the offense. Coach Lamb likes him. I mean, so he's the guy. at least at this point. Got a backup by the name of Stephen Kittleman, who's a local kid, a walk-on type, and some others as well. But right now it looks like it's Kirk Francis, and I think a lot of folks here are pretty comfortable with him and his experience and now that he's gotten, because this is his third year at Tulsa.
Bruce, looking at the schedule, a very unique non-conference game, I would say, all the way in November playing Oregon State. I know Oregon State, Washington State looking to fill in their schedules some way, but that's that's an odd non-conference game late in the year. But you got the Beavers, Oklahoma State Cowboys, New Mexico State, Abilene Christian in the non-conference.
Yeah, the Oklahoma State game is one obviously that we like locally, but Oregon State, another team in orange, going to come in on November 15th. And, it is, like you said, you got to fill in your schedule right now if you're Oregon State and if you're Washington State. And I think Oregon State later this year goes to Appalachian State, goes to Boone to play. So, I mean, yeah, they've had to, go on the road a little bit, and we're happy to have them. And, it's a big time name and should be a great game. But your other games, Oklahoma State's going to be a tough place to win in Stillwater. Haven't won there since 1951. And then the other two non-league games, those are kind of the ones that you think to yourself, you better go win those, and get a couple of non-league wins, because the other two you're not sure of. So that's kind of, and then Tulsa opens up at home against Navy to start the league season. So that's not easy either.
I'm looking at this Trey Lamb gauntlet they're throwing him into here, Bruce. How about to start your conference career, Navy, Tulane, Memphis, and a trip to Greenville? That's going to be a tough start, and you win one or two of those games, you're looking at a good season.
Absolutely, and you sandwich the Oklahoma State game in there. After the Navy game, you got Oklahoma State, so that is definitely a gauntlet. And who knows how teams will turn out this year, but it does ease up a little bit after that. And Trey is such a confident, but not over cocky sort of coach. I have a good feeling that he's going to have them ready to play, and they're going to surprise some people.
Bruce Howard joining us. Bruce, where's Tulsa standing as far as the American? You've got, Memphis reportedly trying to buy their way out. Some teams very happy to be in the American. Everybody's looking to be in their best situation they can possibly be, looking out for themselves, which they should be. So how about Tulsa? Where do they kind of fit in right now to the landscape of college athletics?
Yeah, I mean, you would probably be naive if you didn't at least think that you're probably looking, but I don't know any of that in terms of whether that's happening or not. But you always have to kind of be aware of the lay of the land and that kind of thing. Are we offering $200 million to get into the Big 12? No, like Memphis. But there are a lot of interesting, different pieces that are happening, including what's happening in the Pac-12, with various teams getting in there. Mountain West has been decimated a little bit by the Pac-12 teams. So, there are just so many changes that are going on right now, and who knows what's going to happen in the future. It's kind of like your year-to-year roster. It's right. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's anything and everything could happen, I suppose.
And with all the changes in athletics, it makes me appreciate guys like you even more. I had a chance to work alongside and become friends with the legend, Jeff Charles, the late, great Jeff Charles. And guys like him, guys like you, being able to talk to Jim Lauk year after year at South Florida. You guys are a rarity, Bruce, but it's really cool that when you can connect a name and a face to a university, and I know that's something you don't take for granted.
No, absolutely not, Clip, and it's obviously better than working for a living. So, it's just something we love to do, and I miss Jeff. Everybody misses Jeff, obviously. What a terrific individual he was, and what a tragedy that was. And I know people still think about him and think about painting it purple and all of that. So, but yeah, it's a pleasure to do what we do. And, I just hope that somewhere along the line, college athletics can get a handle on all of the craziness that has gone on in the last 5 or 6 years. You're hoping maybe the pendulum will swing the other way, and that we'll have a little less chaos, if you will, and not only from conference situations to NIL to portal, all of that. You just hope that it simmers down a little bit and becomes, I don't know, a little bit more like normal. I'm not sure, honestly, what normal is anymore, but you know what I mean? You just hope it kind of settles in a little bit and isn't so chaotic.
You said it, but as Jeff Charles used to say, Clip, you either keep up with the times or get left behind. So it looks like you've been able to do that. Maybe Tulsa's been able to do that by hiring Trey Lamb and can pick up some W's this year and on into the future. Bruce, I put my cards on the table before we went on the air, and Bruce raised me. The temperatures in Tulsa even hotter than they are here in Greenville. So, Bruce, sweat out the rest of this summer, but man, we'll be playing some football soon. We got the Hall of Fame game on TV next week, so another sign that it's getting closer. So that's exciting.
Yeah. How about that? Looking forward to it, and obviously looking forward to a Thursday night game in Greenville coming up. I'm looking at
sir.
October 16th. So can't wait to visit you guys again. It's always a pleasure to go there.
And we will talk to you that week and hopefully maybe connect with you when you're here in Greenville. Thank you for joining us again, Bruce, as always, and we'll talk to you again soon.
A pleasure, Clip, always.